Yo, what is going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today we're back with some more The House in Fata Morgana. Now, last time we left off, let's see, what did happen last time we left off, right? So we finally kind of have pretty much the whole gang on our side now. So we've got Mel and Nelly, we've got, Pauline, yeah, that's her name. We have Pauline and, the swordsman. We have Maria, I want to say her name is Maria. So I mean, we kind of have the whole gaggle. The last person that now we have to get the key from is going to be the Lord. Probably the most objectively difficult guy to try and get this kind of confession out of. So I kind of theorized last video that I'm pretty sure Maria is going to be kind of our ace up the sleeve here. I think she's gonna be the one that's gonna be able to get through to him, despite there being kind of clear animosity between them. But hey, we'll see. Without further ado, let's jump right on back into it. Bam. Also, Persona 4 Golden, or well, just in general, Persona 4 Revival was announced, which is going to be pretty cool. So, I'm still finishing up Persona, this is completely off topic, but I'm just still finishing up Persona 4, but that'll be fun. I'm going to probably do Persona 4, go to Persona 3, and then finally get to Persona 5, which hopefully by then it's not so fucking expensive, but oh, whatever. Why must you hand out miracles for nothing? I know that voice. I'm looking up at someone. A woman. She's draped in black fog, and I can't make out many details. But even through the darkness, I know immediately who she is. She is Mother. No, she's not my mother. She is... Who the fuck are we right now? Why would you even ask us a question, Mother? We're barely holding on to disease as it is, my dear. It's not wrong to expect a little remuneration for our services. No, Mother, it is wrong. Miracles are not to be bartered for. God the Father does not charge for his miracles. So why should we, when I am only borrowing his power? I'm guessing this is Morgana, so I'll throw the accent in there. Listen to me, Morgana. Yeah, I was right. Every time you give someone a blessing, you're hurting yourself. If not for the miracle itself, you still deserve some degree of compensation for the pain. I know you're concerned for me, Mother, and I appreciate it very much, but I'm happy with the way things are. I'm happy to be able to help others with my Heavenly Father's power. A power you won't have much longer, my dear, if we can't afford to keep ourselves fed. I am a saint, aren't I? Yes, you're my sweet little saint. God will not forsake his saint. No matter how difficult it may get, he will always provide me a way to continue doing his work. And you're the mother of that saint, aren't you? Yes, that's right. I conceived you untainted by the hands of a man. Then you must respect his will as well, Mother. It must be our highest priority. You're right. I was wrong, my dear saint. Mother, you agreed with me. You said I was right. So why are you taking money from that man? Mother looks over as strange men shove me into a carriage. The look in her eyes sends a chill down my spine. I'm thinking this is Michael seen through the eyes of Morgana, so the narration's going to be a bit all over the place. I see her lips moving. She doesn't actually say the words out loud, but I can make out every individual syllable. Because you're worthless to me. Welcome, daughter of God. You'll be performing miracles for me now. And if you cooperate, I can guarantee you live more than comfortably. Miracles are not something to be performed for one single person's benefit. What? Miracles are not magical parlor tricks. They're precious gifts granted to me by my Father in heaven. Using his power for personal gratification is a grave sin. I will do no such thing. I entreat you to think long and hard about your decisions. Do away with such selfish desires and dedicate yourself to helping the people. The power you've been given was bestowed upon you by the hand of God. It is not your power. He is merely allowing you to make use of it for a short time. Pride is a sin. Please consider how you conduct yourself. You're an arrogant, insolent child, aren't you? I bought you. You're my property. You have no right to an opinion. That is not my opinion. That is the way of the world, as God... Oh God. Excuse me. Silence! You're not here to talk. You're here to perform miracles for me and my guests. As I've already told you, I would not do such things. What you will or will not do is my decision, not yours. The Lord says with a sickening laugh, then grabs me by the hair and knocks me to the floor. I beg him to stop, but he isn't listening to a word I say. Cheers! A saint's blood and good fortune to all. I stare vaguely out at the crowd, gathered for the Lord's blood feast. Every time he has guests, he throws another party, and every time he slices another part of my arms or legs open. It isn't long before they're an unsightly web of crisscrossing scars. The Lord sometimes has trouble deciding where to cut, but not out of any sense of sympathy for me. He simply thinks drawing blood from an untouched area of my body will be more effective. The Lord strips me bare. Perhaps I'll use your stomach today, Saint. I should be able to get some nice pure blood from there. Stop this. Can you not comprehend that what you're doing is an affront to the Lord? I'm free to do what I wish with my property. Saint or not, you're no different from any of my slaves. The Lord is greatly displeased with your actions. Then use your miracle powers to deliver divine punishment on me. Go on. You can do that, can't you? Your soul will be punished. You may not see the effects now, but you will pay for your sins one day. You're not as threatening as you think you are, buck-naked girl. Don't give me that look, girl. I have no interest in taking that from you. You'd be lucky to find anyone willing to lay with a girl covered in disgusting scars. All I can do is wait and endure after day of torture and shame, of the Lord searching for new places to stick his knife. My entire body, except for my face, is covered in reddish-black wounds. Jesus fucking Christ. You know, that's one thing this game never holds back on, I'll tell you that much. When it comes to torment, pain, and torture, they do not hold back. We had Michael, who was consistently, beaten, starved, and sexually abused by his brother's fiance. You had Giselle, who was basically waterboarded in a bucket of shit. And now you have Morgana, who not only has Morgana already gone through people taking advantage of her and cutting her up, but she's also gone through being enslaved, having her arm chopped off, and now this shit. These blood feasts. Someone, anyone, help me. Get me out of here. Please, someone. O Father who art in heaven, I pray for you to lead me unto deliverance. Father, your trials, they're much too great. Sorry if I sound nasally, my nose is kind of stuffed this morning. Morgana. That was much clearer than the first time I saw it. Everything she felt, her struggling, her sincerity, her pain, and her voice. It felt almost as though I was the one going through it all. The Lord. I can understand why Morgana would bear such a powerful grudge against him, considering everything he did to her. Why would he do that, though? Is there some reason, some explanation for his actions? I'm thoroughly exhausted, like I've just spent the last several months having my blood drained again and again. My limbs feel like they have boulders tied to them. Just trying to get to my feet makes me dizzy. So cold. She's probably waiting for me by now. I should get going. I have to do this. Move, damn it. Fighting against my body's attempts to succumb to gravity with every step through sheer force of will, I make my way to the courtyard. Oh, there you are. Thank God you came. Sticking on the charred grounds is a bit unnerving, so if you... Oh, you're right. You look like you just came back from the dead. I'm fine. Thank you for coming. Now to continue our conversation from yesterday. Whoa, slow down. Who do you think you're convincing? You look about as fine as a fucking corpse. If you're not feeling well, you can always do this some other time. And whoa, what happened to your hand? It's a minor injury. Nothing of any significance. Seriously, who do you think you're convincing, man? I can get around just fine without a few fingers. You gotta take yourself into consideration too. You can only run on raw determination for so long. I'd imagine how it makes me feel for a second. You ask him to talk showing up like that. If you want to get anything done, you've got to take care of yourself first. Head on back to your room and rest. Let's do this some other day, okay? When you're feeling... I don't have that kind of time. Noon tomorrow. That's my deadline. I have to take care of everything before then. I know damn well what condition I'm in, but that doesn't change what I need to do. If I don't, I can't save Morgana. I can't get Giselle back. That makes it all the more important you get your rest. And when do you suggest I do that exactly? Honestly, I don't know why you're in such a damn tizzy. Get hold of yourself, man. I'm plenty calm. You sure don't look it. You're already pushing yourself to the edge. I don't want to be responsible for giving you that last nudge. So quit bickering with me and get your ass back and get some rest. You don't understand the gravity of the situation. None of you do. You don't grasp how great an effect stopping what happens tomorrow will have. I have to keep moving, even if it means crawling through the dirt. If I don't, not only will I fail to make things better, Morgana's almost certainly got even worse fates in store for all of you, so long as her curse lives on. I'm the only one here who knows what waits. So that makes you what? A prophet or something then? Not exactly, no. But in terms of this time period, that would be the most apt description. Do not believe me? Well, you know, that is asking a lot. That's fine. You don't have to. But at the very least, I want you to believe that I genuinely believe something terrible is going to happen tomorrow if I don't do something. That I think I don't have time to waste. All I need you to do is tell me what you know. Could you do that for me? Assuming you actually are a prophet or whatever, why don't you just, get the hell out of town? Say, fuck it, this is too much, and vanish into the night. No one's going to blame you if you do. Hell, is anyone even going to notice you did anything if you don't succeed? If you do succeed? I'm not in this for attention or praise. I cannot sit idly by knowing what I know. Seeing what's happened and what will. Knowing what Morgana went through. What she felt. I can't abandon her. Not anymore. I can't let my knowledge go to waste. Well, it is true that the mansion will continue to be wrapped in darkness so long as Morgana's curse remains in effect, and nothing can be put to rest until I do something about that. That's not my sole motivation anymore. I sincerely want to help Morgana. Giselle, is this what you meant when you told me you wanted me to save her? You seem like the kind of fellow who's always fretting about something or the other. You don't know how to take it easy, do you? Yeah, I guess in a way that's kind of why you can fight so hard, huh? Alright, you win, I'll talk. Anything you want to know, I'll tell you. Thank you very much. But, you sit your butt down first. Okay. Morgana said that. She did. She described her 3 years there as one of the brightest periods of her life. Huh? Who'd have thought? Damn, that's kinda really great to hear. Did she never tell you herself how she felt? She never really made much an attempt to be part of the group. It was like she had those colossal walls around her. I can see that. Yeah, so I always kind of felt like I never knew if I was sticking my nose in too far or not, you know? She appreciated what you and the other woman did for her. After the raid 4 years ago, she ended up in the hands of a slave trader. As she was being transported, she said this with tears in her eyes. I'm sad because I didn't get the chance to show my gratitude to the people very dear to me. Well, damn. So is that, absolutely 100% exactly what she said? You're not just putting it out of your ass, are you? Those were her exact words, yes. As hard as it may be to believe. No, I believe you. I'm just surprised is all. I mean, just... wow, yeah. If I'd known that was how she felt, maybe I could have been a little friendlier with her. You weren't friendly with her? Not especially. I mean, that's not to say I was cold or anything. It's just that all the girls kept a bit of a distance from her. Not because we didn't like her, but because that's what it looked like she wanted. Some distance. None of us were really cut out for the caretaker gig. As much as we loved to be some kind of mother figure for her, we just didn't have it in us. Who was closest to her? He's dead. The slave. Huh? Was this about a slave? There was a young man, a slave who participated in the revolt at the Lord's Manor, who saved Morgana's life. Yeah, that's the guy. He was the closest of any of us to her, or at least he gave her the most attention. And he's 6 feet under. That's unfortunate. What can you do? People come and go. That's just the way of things. I thought that maybe if he were still alive, that would improve our chances of saving Morgana. Improve our chances? There's only one way about it. We smash the Lord's fucking skull in and take his key. That's not an option. Doing that will not alleviate her hatred. Would you be willing to accompany us when we go into the observation tower? Huh? Me? Why? I want you to be there to say something to her. I'll say whatever you want me to say once you've gotten her out of the tower. Don't you think you'd be able to hear the voice of someone who... Don't you think being able to hear the voice of someone she cares for when she's finally set free would do more to pull her out of the darkness than anything else? That's all the more reason it can't be me. Why not? Like I've been saying, I was never that tight with her. I kept my distance. I can't do anything, not with the reasons you've given me for why she's so full of hatred. I have no other options, though. Actually, while I doubt this will do much in the way of getting rid of her grudge, there is something I was supposed to give her but never got the chance. Oh? It's nothing special, just a rinky-dink little necklace. But if you get the chance, would you mind giving it to her? If anyone, that should come from you. It's not from me. It was supposed to be from the slave. He got it for her as a birthday present, but that was the day the brothel got raided. So yeah, that's the story. Make sure she gets it, would you? Okay, I will. Thanks, man. Well, now that that's out of the way, I should split. Best of... There you are. Oh. Oh, okay, it's fucking... There you are, said Nellie, the little girl. You weren't in your room and I was sick. I was worried sick. Fuck. What are you two doing here? You're going to talk to the Lord tonight, right? So, there's a chance you might be able to set the Saints free. No way am I going to miss that. That's why you're here. That, and say goodbye. I want for them to make reparations as soon as the girl is released. Do you feel the same way, Nellie? If Mel tells me he wants to, then I won't stop him. But he was threatened, so if it's possible, I don't think there's any need for him to rush to be punished. I don't want to lose my brother. Surely there are other ways he can atone. That's reasonable. I do feel guilty about what he was put through. It's not your fault what he did. Anyway, I'm really anxious about tonight, but I'm sure it'll turn out fine. You'll make it work, won't you, dearest Michael? I'll do my best. Oh, come on, you've got to act confident. Take care of my Mel for me, too. He's very fragile, so handle him with care. Like a big old box of china. Is he really that fragile? As for me, if he looks like he's going to do anything he shouldn't, would you stop him for me? I wish I could be there to do it myself, but, well, he insists only the people directly involved should be there, and I want to respect that. I was never going to allow anyone to get hurt anyway. That's good. Thank you. He and the Lord may have caused the girl a great deal of pain, but I still don't want anyone to get hurt. Some people deserve it, and I say let them have it. Now, Maria, don't be like that. You're the weird one, Little Miss Perfect. Going around letting everyone off the hook for everything, and the whole damn world's going to come falling down on you. He did what he did for me, though. And the Lord? He's only in it for his own profit. Much as he says it'll benefit the city, it still comes back around to his own pockets. The Lord's not a bad man, though. Yeah, I've heard it 1,000 times. No one's a bad person in your eyes, I know. No. Can we please try to keep things civil? Yeah, sorry. Bad habit, I know. I talk a lot of rot, but I don't really mean half of it. I do think he's much better than the old Lord, though. Hold on a second. What did you just say? He's much better than the old... When did the current Lord take his place? 4 years ago? What? Morgana was 9 years old when she was at the Lord's manor. 7 years ago. Maria, were you ever at the Lord's manor at any time 7 years ago? Nah, I was never hired by anyone there. Then when? She didn't have any interaction with the Lord 7 years ago. Now it all makes sense. How did I not consider this possibility sooner? I know what kind of man he is, and I know the people he had around him. Maria, is the slave actually dead? What? I'm so lost. Hold up. Wait. So... Hold up. Let me process this. So... The new Lord took power... No, wait, what? Let me go back to this. Morgana was 9 years old when she was at the Lord's manor. Really? What? He was doing this to a 9-year-old? What the... Wait, I'm so lost. Hold up. What? I'm so confused. Okay. He's much better than the old Lord. The current Lord took his place 4 years ago. So Morgana was 9 when she was at the Lord's manor 7 years ago. What? I'm so confused. she didn't have any interaction with the Lord 7 years ago. Okay, we're just gonna keep reading. I don't understand what's going on. You better have a damn good reason for this. I came because you said you had something important to discuss. Now, can you tell me who this white-haired man is and what he's doing here? You neglected to mention we'd be having company. I'm the one who asked him to arrange this meeting with you. And who the hell would you be? He's an angel. Or a prophet. What? Would you both finally snap under the pressure? I'll leave it to you for you to decide what you think I am. I will say, though, that I know everything. Let me turn down my volume. I know you've got a girl imprisoned in the observation tower, and I know you're taking her blood and calling it medicine, passing it out at the church. Which of you squealed? No one told him anything. He just knew. He knows everything, including my deepest desires and what happens in my next life. He's probably peering into your soul this very moment. You've completely lost, I see. Well, how you got your information doesn't matter. All I need to know is this. What are you hoping to gain from it? Wealth? My downfall? What? Morgana's freedom. I want you to give me your key, and then I want you to tell me your story. I've come here from the future, from the world after Morgana's death. Her soul courses with hatred for the three of you, and she's placed a curse of eternal suffering on your souls. Has everyone at this table gone mad? Did you seriously think I would believe that nonsense? Don't interrupt me. My objective is not so much to rescue Morgana's physical body from the tower, but to save her soul from an eternity of loathing. I can't achieve that on my own, however, because I'm not from this time. I have had no direct interaction with her or anyone else here until just recently. In order to make her have a change of heart, I need to gather the truth from the people who are from this time. And I suspect that you hold the last piece of the puzzle, the biggest piece, that you have a far deeper connection with Morgana than anyone else here. Is he the slave boy? Is this what we're insinuating? That he's the slave boy? Or am I reading into that wrong? No, I'm almost certain of it now. Your perspective is crucial to accomplishing my goal. Tell me your whole story, please. How you ended up capturing and imprisoning Morgana. What you thought and felt along the way. Your truth will get to her. I know it. That will be the turning point in all this. Her curse will be no more. And you will all be returned to the paths you were meant to walk. Everyone will have their salvation. Someone throw this madman out. I won't do it. Neither will I. Damn worthless curse. Is that what we're getting at? That he's the slave boy? I mean, that's kind of what it feels like we're pointing at. That he was a slave boy, so that's why she holds a grudge. Because I guess theoretically it would go... She was brought into slavery. Oh, I'm so confused. I'm so lost. Huh. We'll find out. Oh, call the gods then. Who do you think I am exactly? I am the lord of this land. Under ordinary circumstances, I'd never go so much as deign to speak with you, lowly peasant. Now get out of my sight, or I'll take it as an act of aggression, and you'll find yourself without a head. In this room right now, you're not a lord. You're a lone man. Until you hand over your key, we're not letting you leave. And you'll find there aren't any guards for you to call. You're all alone in this estate. Your preoccupation with staying out of sight played right into our hands. Accept your defeat, Lord. We've already agreed to set the witch free. Cowardly worms. Ironic coming from you. I didn't think you'd turn coat quite so eagerly. The Nat and your kid sister were in on it too, I take. We were only working for you. We never felt any sort of allegiance to you. Loyalty founded on what one has to gain or lose is far more resilient than uncertain, fluctuating feelings. But it would appear this white-haired man shattered that foundation. How long have you been colluding with them, you cur? I arrived in this era 2 days ago. What? 2 days? In just 2 days you've got these worms dancing for you? They're not dancing for me. I merely spoke with them and they listened. You're a disturbed man. You couldn't possibly have won these two over in a mere 2 days. He's no ordinary man. As we've said, he knew everything. When I was talking with him, it felt like he was looking directly into my soul. He's definitely an unusual one, yeah. It felt like he's known me my whole life, even though he just showed up out of nowhere 2 days ago. I didn't believe what he was saying at first, but he knew things he couldn't possibly know. My secret wish, something I've never told anyone before. I don't know what kind of tricks you're playing, but now I know why I've never seen you around. If you've been lurking around the city for longer, sticking your nose where it didn't belong, I would have taken notice sooner or later. Ha! I'm impressed. In only 2 days you managed to convince them both to betray me and set me up. I am indeed the one in charge of this operation, so if it's to wish you're after, I'm the obvious target, yes. And the two dogs there surely have some pent-up rage. So I take it you're going to tie me up and torture me until I tell you what you want to know. That's not a bad idea. What do you say? Give me the word and he's in ropes. Wait! We agreed we weren't getting rough. I have no interest in solving this problem with violence. We're here to uncover the truth. We needn't exchange blows, only words. Anyway, if we're going to beat it out of him, we would have done so as soon as you walked through the door. We discussed this beforehand, we're only talking. No one's getting into any fights, physically or verbally. That's right. Well, it looks like I've got no way out, so you've got me. I surrender. Take my key. Go open the tower doors. What? That was easier than expected. Your key's not important right now. Your perspective is what I seek. Why did you make it so the lock required 3 keys? One person is more than adequate for the job, so I split it 3 ways. Is that any of your concern, cur? Was it because it was too much weight to bear alone? You didn't actually want to imprison Morgana, did you? Something somewhere went wrong. You backed yourself into a corner and couldn't escape. I'm done listening to you. Am I right or am I wrong, Lord? Or should I say, Jacopo? Jacopo? But isn't his name, Jean-Francois Bonnier? That's Lord Bonnier to you insolent child. You seem to be a bit confused. I am son of the House of Bonnier, which means I am royalty. No, you're not. I don't know how you came to start calling yourself Bonnier, but there's not a drop of royal blood flowing through your veins. The slave revolt at the Lord's Manor 7 years ago. You were there, weren't you? During the revolt, you helped Morgana escape. That's right, you saved her life once. That was you. You were the slave from 7 years ago. Slave? Are you out of your goddamn mind? Me, a slave? Like hell a former slave to become royalty. You did it though. You went from slave to lord. Enough. I don't know who's filling that white-haired head of yours with this drivel, but I'm done listening to it. Say another word and I'll throttle you myself. Keep slandering my name, I dare you. Maria told me the slave back then was dead. She didn't mean it literally, though. She meant he wasn't who he used to be anymore. Maria, you've been talking to her, too. Because she was afraid if Morgana found out, it would only serve to throw her deeper into despair. The man who had once saved her was now responsible for keeping her imprisoned. Your ears not work, her. I said I've had enough. I need your perspective. There's more to the story, I'm certain of it. I refuse to believe you acted only for your own benefit, only to cause her pain. Okay, hold on. So, if I remember correctly... she was sold into slavery by her mother. I ended up in a lord's manor where these blood feasts were happening. There was a slave revolt where apparently Jacopo had helped her escape, brought her to a brothel. But then the brothel was attacked by bandits. Everyone was killed. And then she was basically enslaved again. But that was when she met the swordsman who slaughtered everyone in the slave wagon and allowed her to go free. And then now, all these years later, she's living isolated in this little hut by the lake, meets Mel, and that's kind of where all three of these paths diverge. Or not diverge, but collide. I kind of had to refresh myself a little bit there on the lore. Because, yeah, I completely forgot that, well, I think the way it was initially told was more in a way that insinuated the Lord from when she was initially captured and the Lord, and, you know, this Lord when she was thrown in the tower were the same person, but whatever. If you want the key so damn badly, then take it. Set the witch free, I don't give a damn. But if you say another word, I'll rip your fucking tongue out. Again, the key's not what I need right now. I need your story. Are you deaf or just an imbecile? Your perspective is crucial to saving Morgana's soul. Enough. When you were a slave, you helped Morgana escape from the Lord. Silence. And you spent the next 3 years with her. Just one more fucking word, I swear to God. So how did you end up here? How did the boy from 7 years ago go from saving her to locking her up and stealing her blood? There's no excuse for your actions, no. But please, I need you to tell me how you got to this point. Enough! Michael! The next thing I see is a dagger in his hand pointed at me. I reflexively try to push myself out of the path of his charge with my dominant hand, which sends a jolt of excruciating pain up my right arm. I'll rip your fucking head off! The Lord swings his arm up, and the necklace spills from my pocket, making a metallic clink as it hits the floor. When he sees it, his eyes go wide for a brief moment. Of course, I'm just as slackjawed as him. What the hell is going on? Why? How? Why am I looking at a familiar cloud of inky black darkness? There's no one to answer my question, though, and no time to think about it either. I have to make a decision, right now. The Lord, dagger raised, is quickly approaching. Off to the side, the cloud of darkness is expanding. Brother. Save real quick. We're saving real quick. Hold up. Reach into the darkness or shove the Lord aside. What does this mean? Okay, so as far as I understand it, we've fallen to the ground. The necklace has spilled out of our pocket. He's noticed it. This fucking black portal has appeared next to us. Ah, fuck me. What does shove the Lord aside mean? Like, if we shove the Lord aside, what does that mean? Like, are we pushing him out of the way of the darkness? We're gonna reach into the darkness. I don't know. I reach my hand into the darkness, spreading from the necklace. And as soon as I do... What the hell is this? What's that black stuff? The blackness swells, consuming us all. Did I do the right thing? No, stop! What is this? Don't make me! Watch this! His shouts fade into the distance, and my mind and body are swallowed up entirely. It's the same thing that happens whenever Giselle and I open a door. The same darkness I've gazed into again and again and again and again in that cursed mansion. That house that exists outside of reality. Far, far off into the distance, I can see a gentle light, like a hole ripped out of the darkness, Green grass and colorful flowers rustling in the wind. I don't understand. The darkness, it was never present in the past. It was, I thought, a phenomenon restricted to the realm of the dead. So what is it doing here? But even my questions are in short order swallowed up by the void. Soon my whole body ceases to retain its form, leaving only my consciousness to view the sights, sounds, and emotions of someone's past. I become an observer, as I have many times before. Alright, let's see it. Gonna be the Lord's past, Jacopo's. I'm staring into a pair of ruby red eyes, open wide with shock. I recall snapping at him, insulting him, but I don't remember what I said, nor do I remember how he responded. All I know is that a wave of churning blackness appeared out of nowhere, washing me away. I'm powerless, helpless, hopeless. My young mind sucked into it like a whirlpool. Young? My young mind? Oh, for Christ's sake. You've got to be kidding me. Why? For the love of God, why am I being made to look back at this part of my life? The miserable, stupid fucking romantic I once was. Why am I turning back into the boy I tried so hard to forget? Where did this absurd black smoke come from, and why can't I get out of it? If it's that white-haired man who's doing this to me, then he's not an angel or a prophet. He's a goddamn devil himself. But all my questions, my confusion, my frustration, everything that composes my present, is superseded by that darkness, wisping away into nothing. Oh? To be blunt, the world is a small place. There's an unimaginable amount of it out there, but you only ever get to see a minuscule fraction of that. And that goes doubly so for us. The poor barely get the chance to see any of it at all. And those who are born into affluence, well, they have no idea just how small our world really is. I never yearned for the world outside what I knew. I more coveted it. A splash of spite mixed in. I wanted to claw my way up the mountain, knock all the bastards down who'd never seen what it was like at the bottom. If I made it high enough, I could do anything. I would have complete freedom. If that sounds like a childish fantasy to you, well, you'd be right. That's exactly what it was. There you are. You spend so much time in the graveyard that one of these days someone's going to think you're a gravekeeper, or maybe a grave robber. I can understand a gravekeeper, but I take offense to the suggestion that I look like a grave robber. I'm praying for the souls who have no one else to see them off. The girl named Morgana turned around to face me. Though I'd known her for some time, I'd rarely ever looked her in the eyes. Her face was almost always concealed beneath a dark hood, revealing only the tip of her nose and sometimes her lips. Honestly, I don't get it. Why do you care so much? These are souls that have no one else to pray for them. At best, they may get a bit of lip service from a priest once or twice. It's our responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and the poor, to pray for the abandoned souls. What I don't get is why you need to pray for the dead at all. They're just bags of bones. I hope you enjoy an eternity in hell, blasphemer. Hey! That was uncalled for. I'm just joking, obviously. You take black humor to a new level. Morgana gave me a curt shrug, then turned away. She never faced anyone head-on for very long, and she had a perfectly good reason for it. It wasn't because she disliked me or anything. I don't think, anyway. About 3 years earlier, something had happened that had caused large patches of flesh to fall off her face. Supposedly, she looked fine before then, but I only knew her as she was at that time. The rest of her body was covered in wounds as well, but applying ointment to them had reduced the scarring significantly. Her face, though, showed no signs of recovering. A close friend of mine, a prostitute, said she thought it might be a psychological thing, but regardless, I continued applying the ointment to Morgana's face. Hey, come on, don't turn away from me. I know you can hear me. I brought ointment, so let me put it on you. It's a waste of time. You don't know that. Your arms look much better than before. It won't be long before your face starts healing too. The ointment isn't free. You're wasting your money. It's my money, I can use it however I please, so just shut up and let me do this. You're a very obnoxious man, you know. What was that? You want me to rub it real hard, huh? Fine. With a forlorn graveyard as their backdrop, a young man applied salve to a girl's raw, exposed flesh. It was quite possibly the least romantic sight in the world. I would have, at the very least, preferred a somewhat more pleasant location. As the thought flooded through my mind, I let out a defeated laugh, and I could soon feel her glaring at me. Morgana could be a bit standoffish, but honestly I didn't mind. For her, this was actually quite sociable, in fact. When I first met her, she didn't act her age at all, but now she was starting to show signs of the 12-year-old girl hidden inside. 3 years prior, when I met Morgana, she'd been the victim of unspeakable abuse at the hands of the Lord. I didn't know why he had done those things to her, and I didn't ask either, because I knew doing so would only reopen old wounds. All I knew was that the Lord was far gone as a human being as to brutally torture a 9-year-old girl. At the time, the only thing that ever seemed to come out of her mouth was the word of God. Everything she said or did was ostensibly for the benefit of others, but it felt to me like she was acting out of some sort of sense of duty rather than genuine concern. Honourable, but ultimately hollow. I much preferred this Morgana, even if she could be a bit jaded. What are you hoping to get out of repairing my face? I'm not trying to get anything. I just want you to heal up. My dear, I thought you were trying to make me work at the brothel. How many times do I have to tell you? I'm not going to make you be a prostitute. What other reason could you have for wanting my face to get better? Because I want to see it. Isn't that enough? Just so we're clear, that wasn't me hitting on you, okay? The thought never occurred to me. She fell quiet, sitting there motionless as I rubbed ointment onto her face. Her skin beneath my thumb was rough and unpleasant to the touch, and honestly rather stomach-churning. It was hard to imagine her face would ever heal. Whatever I said about wanting to see her face was true. But what I wanted more than anything was for her to be able to live a relatively normal life. I hope you're prepared to be let down if I ever do heal. That possibility is part of the fun. You have as much tact as a worm. No tact and bad taste. I'm a real winner. It's no wonder no one throttles you in your sleep. Being a guy, of course, I would have been pleased if she turned out pretty when her face healed, but her life was guaranteed to be easier than now no matter what she looked like. That was what really mattered ultimately. I could only imagine how hard it was to have your life turned completely upside down at the age of 9. A large portion of us in the slums had our share of misfortune, but hardly any of them stacked up to what Morgana had to bear. She had no parents. When I'd asked about her mother, she'd gotten cagey with me, so I assumed she'd been sold off. When I asked about her father, though, she just pointed up to the sky, which I took to mean he was dead. A young girl, no family, sent off all on her own on some strange land, somewhere along the line ending up in the Lord's cruel grasp. Misfortune felt like an understatement, if anything. That said, it wasn't just out of pity that I gave Morgana so much of my attention. The other reason, though, well, she'd probably go running if I told her. Hell, I wanted to hit myself over the head. I'd still be your friend even if you turned out to be the ugliest girl in the city. You should be grateful. How is it you haven't managed to chase off everyone in your life yet? I act like a decent guy around other people. Do my best to fit in. Then why are you such a dolt around me? Just doing my best to fit in. So you're saying this is my fault? Everyone could use a thorn or two. Makes it more exciting. You especially. Okay, that should be everything. Does it sting anywhere? Not particularly, no. Alright. Oh, also, finish up here and get back to Maria soon. Unless you'd rather I drag you there. Why? Seriously? It's her damn birthday, that's why. And? What do you think, dimwit? She wants to celebrate. Get back there soon, okay? I'm planning to drop by too. Okay? Okay. She gave a sheepish nod, which was honestly kind of cute, but of course I couldn't say that, so I shrugged my shoulders, feigning exasperation, and then turned to leave. Once I might have offered to accompany her back to the brothel, but Morgana never seemed keen on the idea of walking anywhere with me. Maybe she was afraid of grown men after what had happened to her at the Lord's Manor, or maybe she just didn't want me to be seen with someone who looked like her. So hey, I thought you were leaving. One day, I'll show you the world." "I won't get my hopes up." "Get your hopes up, damn it," I said with a soft chuckle, and then I took my leave. I had every intention of making good on that promise, and I had more than enough reason to believe I could. 3 years back, there was a slave revolt at the Lord's Manor. That's not quite accurate, though, because while I was partly responsible for inciting the riot, I wasn't actually a slave. The local lord was spoken of in whispers as the second coming of the great tyrant of old. The people were constantly grumbling about how he seemed to treat the land like his own personal playground, exploiting everything and everyone on it for its own amusement. When enough stress and resentment builds up in a contained space, all it takes is a little shove from the outside to burst. And that was our plan. Me and a number of other dissatisfied citizens gathered together to pop that bubble and give the Lord a taste of how we felt about him. With the help of a slave trader, I infiltrated the Lord's Manor. I'd known slaves weren't treated well, but seen it for myself, I thought most of those people would have been happier having been born as a dog or cat and owned by someone who actually had a heart. It was revolting, a flagrant injustice. Broadly speaking, there are two types of people who see injustice in the world. The first are those who have everything, who sit unchallenged at the top of the world, looking down on the less fortunate with pity. The second are those with nothing, who wish to overthrow the entire system keeping them down. It should come as no surprise that I fell in the second camp. Once I was inside, I went around the manor telling all the slaves about our plan. Most of them had long since lost the will to fight, but with enough assurance there were people on the outside ready and waiting to help, glimmers of hope started to return to their eyes. Finding out they weren't alone, that they weren't helpless anymore, had an incredible effect on their morale, and once the slaves were convinced, the revolt began. It ended up being much larger in scale than I had imagined, and many people lost their lives in the process, but the majority of them managed to escape. Naturally, the slaves couldn't stay in the city, so I directed them to people waiting outside the city who would take them to another city or neighbouring country. I had neither the money nor the power to guarantee them a good life on the outside, but that hardly mattered to them. Everyone was sure that wherever they ended up would be better than where they were staying, and I prayed that would be the case. It was during the revolt that I saved Morgana. I would have sent her off somewhere else like all the other slaves, but she was in so dire a condition when I found her that she could hardly even move on her own. She'd been sapped of all her willpower. So I brought her to the brothel where a friend of mine worked and asked her to take Morgana in. My companions and I revelled in the revolt's success. It wasn't enough of an accomplishment to have any real political implications, but we still felt like heroes. Drunk on victory, we started talking about going bigger, starting a full-on revolution. Once the elation passed, though, we realised there wasn't much more we could do. Even if we did manage to start a large enough uprising to kill the Lord, we were only peasants. Not only did we not know the first thing about ruling, the other counts would never acknowledge our authority anyway. We'd pretend to be in control until the next in line showed up, and that would be the end of that. So we just ended up sitting on our thumbs, no way to do anything about our discontent. Skip forward to about a month before Morgana's birthday. One day a middle-aged woman approached me. I'd never met her before, but she had wavy hair that reminded me a great deal of my own. Looking me straight in the eye, the woman said, "I was once a maidservant for the Barnier estate. They've done their best to keep it a secret, but I had a child with the previous lord, and that child is you." The revelation came completely out of the blue. According to her, I had royal blood, and if we could convince the lord of that, I would become royalty. Furthermore, she, as my alleged mother, could return to her old life at the manor. The woman urged me to take action, to meet the lord, reveal my lineage, and reclaim my rightful place at the Barnier house. I would no longer be a poor peasant living in the slums. I would have a comfortable life. I obviously wasn't going to agree on the spot. Her story was so blatantly dubious I needed some time to think on it. If she was telling the truth, though, it could transform our revolution from a dream into a reality. We wouldn't be restricted to inciting inconsequential uprisings. I could seize power legitimately and make some actual change. So I asked the woman to give me some time to consider. "Have you decided what you're going to give her?" That was the first thing I heard when I stepped through the back door of the brothel. Maria, a short, blonde-haired prostitute and good friend of mine, flashed me a devilish smirk. "I bought a necklace as per your suggestion. Girls appreciate that sort of thing, don't they?" "Most do. Me, I've got a taste for knives and other such pointy things. I doubt she has much interest in those, though. Sometimes I wonder if you're actually a girl." Anyone can see that Maria and I were close, but our relationship was strictly platonic. Of course, given her line of work, it was unavoidable that people would think otherwise. And honestly, it irritated me every time someone suggested we were anything more than friends. People have this annoying, short-sighted tendency to assume that just because a guy and a girl are friendly, they must be intimate. It didn't matter that she was a girl. I only thought of her as a friend. And as best as I could tell, that's all she thought of me as well. Maria and I first met when we were children. Even at that age, she was already a prostitute, myself a petty thief. We were both incredibly lucky to have survived to adulthood with only ourselves to watch each other's backs. It's possible the only reason either of us maintained the willpower to survive this long is because we had each other to bitch about our lives when things got bad. So, it's today the day. Are you finally going to tell her how you feel? Excuse me? Tell her how I what? Don't be coy. You know exactly what. And it's about time you ran up and told her. I think you've got a better chance than you think. Do I need to remind you how old she is? 12 as of today. Practically an adult. I knew I was knee deep in dick at that age. Okay, Maria. You're comparing her to you. I was knee deep in dick. At 12 years old. Jesus Christ. Times have changed. The longer you hold off saying something, the more difficult it becomes. Break a leg. Party's going to be in the back, so there won't be any customers around to interfere. Alright. Well, how old is Jacopo to be sitting here like, what? Why would I confess my feelings to a 12-year-old? I chewed over what Maria had to say as I watched her disappear down a brothel corridor. She wasn't wrong. She wasn't overanalyzing. I did indeed have special feelings for Morgana. Women seem to have this strange, somewhat terrifying ability to read people's minds, and Maria was a prime example of that. I never once so much as suggested to anyone I might think anything of Morgana, but Maria had somehow managed to pick up on it almost immediately. Fortunately, she didn't seem particularly bothered by the fact, though if anyone else were to find out, I can only imagine the looks I'd get. I mean, Morgana was 12 and I was 22. Brother! What? That is not only... Alright, the 10-year age gap is one thing, but the fact that it's between a 12-year-old and a 22-year-old is fucking crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. I get that it, like, obviously in the time period they're in, this is perfectly normal. I'm pretty sure the coming of age was, like, in real life, I think, wasn't it like 13 or 16? Somewhere, like, in that range, right? I'm pretty sure that was typically, like, when some of these girls would be married off. But that is crazy. That wasn't normal. Oh, well, there you go. I've never felt this way about anyone else that young, either. Any other girl Morgana's age just looked like another kid to me. So why was she any different? What? She was covered in scars, and every time we met, she would tell me to go to hell, and she refused to walk anywhere with me, and no matter how much ice I broke, I could never seem to get all the way through. Yet still, the world felt like just a bit of a better place when I was with her. It made me want to see her smile, no matter how grotesque her face. How would I even go about saying it, assuming I actually did? Even if your face still isn't fully healed in 4 years, I'll take you as my lifetime partner, Morgana. God, no, that's terrible. There has to be another way to put it. And now I was getting stressed out, and it was all thanks to Maria. This was supposed to be a day of celebration, not of fretting over stupid personal matters. Not long after I arrived at the brothel and made my way back to the back room, Maria and a handful of other unoccupied girls showed up. Morgana, who was supposed to be the guest of honor, was even more reticent than usual. The prostitutes chatted amongst themselves about work in unabashedly graphic detail. The prostitutes chatted amongst themselves about work in unabashedly graphic detail, trading info on which customers were good and which customers were bad, all the while Morgana looking incredibly uncomfortable. You guys think you could maybe change the subject? Like we have anything else to talk about. Making the birthday girl want to hide in a corner defeats the whole purpose, don't you think? Oh, no, don't mind me. I don't have anything I want to talk about. Morgana said in almost a whisper, her head downturned. At least eat something then. The cookies are barely sweetened and dry as rock, but they're edible. Jacopo, you little bitch! You've got some stones to shit-talk my cookies to my face. Stop, Maria. Stop throwing things at me. The other girls cackled as Maria and I bickered, Hoping it might have elicited a reaction from Morgana as well, I took a glance over at her, but she remained expressionless. You are right about one thing, though. This is Morgana's birthday, so let's change the subject, Maria said with a little laugh, having hurled everything within arm's reach at me. Like I said, I don't have anything to talk about. Sure you do, you just have to look a little harder. I'm not saying you have to reminisce for us, it could be anything. Let's see, here's an idea. Has any guys you got your eyes on? I spewed my tea all over the table. There is. And then I started choking. What? Seriously? Holy shit! Who is it? Tell me! Who's the lucky guy? God. Everyone fell silent. Maria gave me a sympathetic look, and I knew exactly what she wanted to say. Sorry, kid, you ain't got nothing on God. Asshole. If you're gonna dream big, right? Yeah, I get where you're coming from. From pining after the all-powerful, all-knowing God. I'm with you. You bold-faced liar. The grass may be a hell of a lot greener up there, but it's a bit far, don't you think? You're better off settling for the weeds down here. Did she just imply I'm a weed? Maria looked over and gave me a wide grin on the side of me grinding my teeth, then continued. Say, the young man over there. Wait, stop right there. Don't say another word. Whoopsie, me and my big mouth. I almost did your job for you. Damn it, Maria. This was not good. Like hell I was going to let her corner me into saying it here. I stole a glance at Morgana, but her gaze was locked on her knees. I couldn't see what, if any, kind of reaction she was having. Morgana, what she's trying to say is that I have to go. What? I have to go to the bathroom. Sure. Morgana got up from her chair and left the room in silence. I imagine I was making a rather flaccid expression, because as soon as she was gone, Maria began cackling like a madwoman. My reply was the nearest object, courtesy of my throwing arm. Loser! How hard is it to just say it? It would have been easier if you hadn't cornered me like that. You think I believe you would have done it without a little nudge? I would have. Eventually. Eventually ain't gonna cut it. Now's the right time. And don't worry, me and the other girls won't make fun of you for getting your rocks off to the little girls. That's not the reason I like her. Besides, I would wait at least 4 years before... Doesn't mean you can't tell her now. I think it'd do her wonders, really. She's, well, you know. So I think knowing someone cares about her will lighten the load a bit. This is so crazy, dude. Me and the other girls won't make fun of you for getting your rocks off to little girls. That's fucking hilarious. When she comes back, give her the necklace and tell her how you feel. And if she turns you down, we can all have a good laugh about it. Maria and a few of the other girls chuckled. As uncomfortable as she was making me feel, she had a point. Regardless of whether Morgana reciprocated my feelings or not, there's a good chance that just putting them out there would help in breaking down the walls she'd built in her heart. And maybe one day, I would actually be able to see her smile. Excuse me, damn. I'll do it. I'll tell her. It didn't matter if I came out looking like a loser. It didn't matter if Morgana wasn't interested in me that way. What mattered was that she knew someone accepted her, regardless of her appearance or the things she'd been through. And if, by some chance, there really was royal blood flowing through my veins, then I could make good on my promise to show her the world. I could put an end to her life of poverty and abuse, replace it with one of comfort and wealth. I could buy her even better medicine, something that could actually heal her face. If I were truly royalty, I could do so much more for her. It makes it sound like I want to be some kind of fairy tale hero or something. But honestly, I wouldn't have minded that. If I was going to make her happy, to wipe away all her past misfortune, why couldn't I make it a little dramatic? It wasn't usually my style, but in this case, I wouldn't have objected to a storybook ending. Okay, so, real quick, because I think they're about to reveal it right here. I think I know what happened. So, Jacopo never actually knew how Morgana got all those scars in the first place. So he had no idea about the whole, miracle blood thing. So I think he ended up the brothel got ransacked, everybody got killed except a very small few. He somehow survived, but at this point, Morgana's been taken as a slave again. Everybody in the brothel's dead. And so he probably at this point was just like, all right, well, I'll, the next best course of action is to accept this lady's offer and, go reclaim the throne. And so I think that there's going to be some stuff that I'm missing here, obviously. But at one point or another, he was probably like, oh, hey, there's supposedly this witch with miracle blood. We should, grab her and it can line my pockets and I can have more money to spend on Morgana if I find her. Or, yada, yada, yada. And making the change that I want to make, right? But then, obviously, when the swordsman goes out to get her and brings her back, he's like, oh shit, this is Morgana, and I've just had somebody chop her arm off and drag her over here, right? That's a possibility. Maybe not, obviously not exactly like that execution, but maybe. Yeah, well, let's read and find out. How about that? This, though. No, this wasn't the kind of story I was hoping for. The heavy curtains separating the guest rooms had been torn to shreds, and they were splattered with blood. A man, apparently caught without enough time to defend himself, lay splayed out naked on a bed, his empty eyes fixed on the ceiling. The whole area reeked of blood. All I could do was stare, stupefied at the carnage. What the hell? Why? How could this happen? My dumbfounded muttering went unanswered, though. The few who were still alive could no better make sense of the incomprehensible massacre than me. The sudden, arbitrary upheaval of our world. The inexplicable, inescapable reality. Shortly after Morgana had stepped out, I heard a woman scream from the front of the brothel. Next, a man shouting. At first, I'd assumed it was one of the customers losing his temper over something, but the tone of the scream seemed somehow off for something like that. It wasn't long before the noise had escalated to alarming levels, so I dashed towards the source of the shouting. A good dozen men, bandits, or maybe thieves, they seemed more organized, had raided the brothel. They slaughtered all the customers, stripping them of any valuables, and they tied up the girls, killing any who resisted. The first thought that rose to my panicked mind was that I needed to find Morgana. I needed to get her out of here no matter what. I couldn't let her birthday turn into a tragedy. She'd already been through enough, and I had to make sure she didn't suffer any further. I had to make her life into something good. I searched and I searched, but there was no sign of Morgana anywhere. Until suddenly, something seemed to crash into me from behind, causing me to stagger. It took a few seconds for the pain to set in, which was when I looked down to see the tip of a blade sticking out of my gut. Blood streamed along this metal surface, and there were little bits of flesh caught on the edges. I turned around just in time to see the man holding it kick me away, and before I had time to process what was happening, I hit the floor and lost consciousness. If I were a hero, I could have surely eradicated all the violent intruders in the blink of an eye, saving everyone. Protected that which I wanted to protect. Not had anything to lose. But I was a mere boy. A weak boy helpless against a few robbers. A useless boy unable to protect anyone. When I woke up, Maria was kneeling over me, sobbing. No sign of the tough, foul-mouthed girl I knew. Aside from her, there were 2 other girls, also crying, leaving only 4 survivors. Apparently I wasn't dead. Looking down, I saw my bare stomach wrapped in blood-soaked bandages. The brothel lay in ruins, a bloody pile of torn bedding, clothes and bodies. I made my way to the front, and all I could do was stare stupefied at the carnage. What the hell? Why? How could this happen? My dumbfounded muttering went unanswered, though. Maria stood beside me, quietly rubbing her trembling arms. Where's Morgana? I couldn't find her. Why not? I'm sorry. I looked everywhere, but I couldn't find her. I'm so sorry. I wanted to say I wasn't blaming her, but I couldn't find the words. If I had power, I could have prevented this from happening. What kind of power would I have needed, though? The physical strength to overpower the thieves? No, I needed something bigger. If I weren't a peasant, but someone of real influence and import, no one would dare stand up to me. No petty thieves would ever consider a raid on me, and I would have the power to punish anyone who tried. But regardless, this would never have happened at all. I was supposed to give Morgana a good life, to show her the world, to make her smile. If only I had power. Absolute, unflinching power. If I had climbed to the top of the ladder when the chance was offered to me, this all could have been avoided. If only I had asserted my place as royalty a month earlier, as the woman who claimed to be my mother had urged me to. I wanted power. The power to keep everything I cared about safe. The power to change this damned world. The power to stop those filthy thieves. The power to keep her by my side. I wanted power. I heard about the attack on the brothel, and that you were hurt. I'm so glad to see that you're well. About a week after the raid, I went to see the woman who professed herself my mother. As you would expect of someone who had served at the old lord's manor, she was very elegant and graceful. The shack where she stayed, though, was a shabby, drab place with bare wattle and daub walls. You weren't concerned about my safety? Of course! Show me a mother who is not concerned about the child's safety, says the woman I'd never seen until a month ago. Physical distance has no bearing on a mother's love, she said with a soft smile. Age had already begun taking its toll on her, but I could see hints of former beauty. If you had gone to speak with the Lord and revealed your lineage when I first came to see you, you would never have been put in that kind of danger. There's still time. Go into the Lord's manor, show him. I'm not really your son, am I? The woman fell silent for a moment, observing me. I could see the resemblance between us, yes, and I had no memories of my mother. It would be nice if she were to show back up someday, but it just wasn't likely. This whole thing felt extremely contrived. Discussions would progress much smoother if we both know that what the other wants out of— Oh, is this me or her? Discussion would progress much smoother if we both know what the other wants out of this arrangement. Start by telling me who you really are. Were you actually a maidservant for the previous lord? She gave a nod, then walked over to the grimy shelf and retrieved a ring that looked very much out of place. It was made of gold, engraved with an elaborate insignia. Look at this. It's the Barnier family crest. The previous lord gave me the ring as a gift, and I've kept it ever since, even after the relationship was discovered and I was chased out. I didn't sell it because I knew I was with child. They would have no choice but to acknowledge you as a legitimate heir if you showed them this ring. Why did you wait so long to come and find me then? I was afraid they might kill you if I brought you in as a baby. Why were we separated? Misfortune. One day bandits came and kidnapped you. Presumably they were hired by the Barnier estate because they didn't want your existence coming to light. I consider it a miracle you're still alive. I can only imagine the stern look on my face as I listened to the woman speak. Part of me did indeed want to take everything she said as true, wanted to believe I was someone important, but I couldn't convince myself I had anything other than a commoner's blood running through my veins. It would appear you've done your research. I don't have any other family to the best of my knowledge, which does indeed make me a good candidate for you to step in and claim your stake on. If I were to guess, your child with the Lord has either passed away or never existed at all. It's probably true that you worked at the Barnier's manor, and it's probably true that you had relations with the former lord. You were chased out, and now you live in poverty. You want to go back to your former comfortable life, and while you're at it, take vengeance on the current lord. But, being a woman, you have no means to accomplish that yourself, so you came up with the idea of using a fake son. If your child was still alive, he'd be right about my age, wouldn't he? And we look similar enough for you to convincingly claim we're related. But the biggest reason you chose me is because I've made something of a name for myself. Because I was one of the people involved in inciting the revolt 3 years ago. The perfect choice to spearhead a revolution. How dramatic. The man who set the Lord's slaves free was secretly his family. The people will eat it right up. So how far off am I? For some time the woman sat in silence. Eventually she broke it, not by yelling in anger or desperately trying to refute me, but with a smile. I knew very well what lurked behind that smile too. Scorn. You're sharp for a filthy peasant. It would seem I chose wisely. I was right. She was a manipulative, conniving shyster. But that I could work with. That fits so much better. I wasn't royalty. I wasn't a hero. I was a filthy peasant. I'm in. The first thing I did after agreeing to work with him was not to approach the Lord, but to reveal my false lineage to my accomplices. They all thought I was joking until I showed them the ring. Then their dreams of revolution started seeming far more realistic. Maria was the one exception. Not only did she not believe me, she tried to stop me from going through with the scheme. Haven't you had enough danger for one life? Come on, forget about all this revolution stuff. We can build up a new brothel and just stay low for the rest of our days. Does that really sound so bad? You're the only friend I've got left, Jacopo, she said somewhat desperately. I sympathized with her concerns, but I didn't want to let this chance go. Didn't want this chance to gain some real power slip away. I was done having things taken from me. Hear me, my fellow citizens, who live in suffering at the hands of your supposed lord. Within me flows the blood of the previous lord. I am the rightful heir. Behold the Barnier's golden ring, proof that I am of noble birth. Victims of this terrible tyrant, the time has come to start anew, and I shall be the one to lead you down that path. The poor, the hungry, the deprived, all of you stand with me. Excuse me. My call to arms stoked the flames in the people's hearts. When the assault of the Lord's manor began, they were in an inferno of righteous justice. No one was thinking straight. I was the only one with something resembling a clear head amidst the chaos. If I were really a hero, then I would have rejoiced in that glorious day, that momentous turning point in the city's history. I would have been honored to have led the charge, but this was all about one woman's avarice and desire for revenge. This was all about one man's lamentation of his own weakness. I wasn't motivated by any desire to help these people. The Lord, backed into a corner, begged for his life. I decapitated him, then held his severed head up for the people. Their cheers and shouts filled the air. As I watched them rejoice, I wondered, was this the future that awaited me? Would the people come after me next? Was my head going to be in one of their hands one day? The king and the other counts acknowledged my royalty, though it was less because I had the Barnier's ring and more because they thought that was the best way to prevent things from getting any messier. So with their approval, I formally became the lord of the land. I also assumed the former lord's name, because despite his reputation with the people, it was a name people knew, and one that held far more clout than my own. And just like that, my long-time dream of power had come true. That said, simply becoming the lord didn't mean everything had fallen neatly into place. Many of the local noble families accused me of acquiring my rank illegitimately. They waited, fangs bared, for me to slip up. They even tried to set me up on more than one occasion. I couldn't trust anyone. On top of that, if I took too long making the improvements I had promised the people, they would start saying I was just as much of a tyrant as the previous lord. There was only so much I could do as once, though, especially with my hands so full of fending off the vulturous nobles. Exhaustion soon began to set in. This wasn't the world I was looking for. The one I wanted to show Morgana. It was day after draining day of betrayal, constantly having to look over my shoulder, fighting to meet unrealistic expectations. I was starting to lose sight of who I was as a person. I couldn't let anyone see me looking too weak. They would see it as an opportunity to take advantage of me, to manipulate me, to eliminate me. I needed power to protect myself from those people. Attaining rank was only the first step. I needed even more power. Enough to ensure no one would ever be giving me orders, could ever play me for a fool. I turned my attention to first the bolstering economy. I provided subsidies to merchants in the city, expanded trade routes. I made it known that people of any skin colour, even those not welcome in their own territories, were welcome in my land, trying to bring some vitality to the city. The previous lord had evidently loved to throw parties, squandering away nearly all the tax money on his own entertainment. If he had left me more to work with, I would have used it to clean up and repair the slums. But for the time being, that had to remain another item on the checklist. I needed more money flowing through the city as a whole before I could make any headway on fixing up the poorer areas. Helping the people who need it most quickly became a secondary objective. I had a pretty good idea what my former accomplices still in the slums were saying about me. He used us. I could practically hear them whispering. Some of them even started publicly slandering me in an attempt to undermine my authority, claiming I wasn't suited to be in a position of power because I had spent most of my life in the slums. It wasn't long before they had convinced the people I was just another tyrant. I had hoped that they, if no one else, would have sympathized with my position, realized that I had every intention of helping them, and that I simply didn't have enough resources for it yet. But no one saw what I was doing. No one believed me, even when I tried to explain. In one case, I invited an old companion to my manor to discuss matters, but the meeting only turned into an attempt on my life. Having absolutely no one I could trust, no one I could call an ally, hit me a lot harder than I imagined. It twisted my worldview beyond recognition. I had no need for sympathy. I couldn't show care for anyone, otherwise someone would inevitably use it against me, old friends and strangers alike. In fact, those who knew me best, those who were aware of where I had come from and what I had been before, were the ones who fought the hardest to tear me down. Rules needed to be created, punishments established. I couldn't allow anyone to take this power from me. Anyone who so much as suggested I had come from the slums, anyone who dared disrespect me, had to be eliminated. All threats exterminated before they could reach me. Somewhere along the line I had lost sight of my original dream. Lost all my desire to do right by the people I cared about. Hell, I didn't have anyone to do right by anymore. Why did I need to climb to the top of the ladder? So no one could kill me. Why did I want money? So no one could mock me. Why did I want power? So no one could oppose me. 4 years passed, and I found myself in a very, very distant place. Miracle blood? Sounds like a sham to me. You never know. They say the sound of her first cry brought rain to the land where she was born, saving the whole village from drought. And they say her blood has the power to cure any disease. One day, a curious rumor came to my attention. The kind of whispering I wouldn't usually put much stock into. It was said that there was a witch living in a cottage by the lake. Few had ever seen her face, but they claimed she had the same voice as a girl who had supposedly performed several miracles earlier. I can't speak anymore. The same voice as a girl who had supposedly performed miracles several years earlier in a faraway village. The people loved their stories of heroes and miracles, and if I could show some support for the churches, then maybe people would stop complaining I was focusing too much on the economy. So I devised a plot to capture the witch and make use of her miracle blood. I would establish a new church, have it run by a nun the city had been fawning over for some time. They called her the Sanctus. There I could take the witch's blood and call it a miracle medicine, distributing it in exchange for tithes, which the people would certainly come in for in droves. And if the blood somehow did happen to have special powers, then that would make the scheme that much more effective. I'll worry about the veracity of the rumors later. Right now all I want is for you to capture her and bring her to me. I was too busy to handle capturing the witch myself, so I went and found someone to handle it for me. He was a former slave who had several years back massacred an entire carriage of slaves and the slave traders transporting them. Obviously not an upstanding citizen, but there was little doubt he would have any trouble apprehending a single witch. The biggest reason I chose him, though, was because he was enamored with the nun. I honestly thought it was rather hilarious, a murderer falling in love with a nun. I'd been expecting the man to object, but he agreed almost without hesitation. There was a mansion on the outskirts of the city, which the previous lord had built for himself, and had gone unused since his death. It was there I decided to keep the witch, and it was there I decided to establish the church. The nun would have ample space there to provide temporary shelter to the sick and needy. I thought, with what little remained of my conscience, that I was doing the right thing. If one witch, probably an old woman at that, was all it cost to accomplish some good, then a worthy sacrifice it was. In an ideal world, it wouldn't matter young or old. A human being was an unacceptable price for anything. But this was far from an ideal world, so I decided that taking what little remained of this woman's life was the best, no, the only acceptable course of action. She'd probably despise me for it, but I would gladly accept her hatred in exchange for the benefits her blood would bring the city. It's our responsibility to offer a helping hand to the sick and poor, to pray for the abandoned souls. Morgana's words from years back popped into my head. I believe that, as aggressive, self-centered, and utterly lacking in compassion as my methods may have been, I was following that mantra. I was offering a helping hand to the people who needed it in the only way I knew how. I wasn't so dense as to think she would approve of me making an old woman pay for the price of my charity, though. Doing this made me no better than a thug. But everything has a price. For every extravagant feast held, a dozen people go the night without food. That's simply the way of the world. I was no god. I was no saint. I had blood on my hands. I was a villain. I knew no way to accomplish good without doing bad. After the swordsman departed, I took some time to myself. I filled a goblet with water, smelled it, and gave a bit of it to my pet dog before gulping down the rest of it. Are you still out there somewhere, Morgana? What would you think of me if you saw what I'd become? Several days later than originally planned, the swordsman finally arrived at the mansion. I had chosen the observation tower on the grounds for the witch's prison, and it was there I waited for him. He showed up with a burlap sack hung over his shoulder, setting it down on the ground and saying, "There's your witch." I could only hear muffled grunting from inside the sack, but it didn't sound like an old woman inside. The man's clothes in the bag reeked of blood. "Don't tell me you harmed her, dog. I smell blood. You only instructed me not to kill her. Mistakes were made, limbs were lost. I cleaned up all the blood I got on me. No one suspected anything." That you were able to immediately recognize it as a smell of blood says quite a bit, Lord. You have killed before, haven't you? Enough yapping. She is alive, yes? Of course. I felt a tinge of guilt for the woman, but it didn't last long. Her role in my scheme, and the fate that awaited her, was the same regardless of the condition she arrived in. I tossed my gaze from the man into the bag. He crouched down to untie it, revealing a young girl with one arm severed. As soon as I saw her, I knew exactly who the girl was. But why? What was she doing in the bag? Why was she the lakeside witch? What was she doing there? Why was she so pale and shaking? Why had I ordered her captured? How could I have done that? How could I have let this happen to her? Morgana. My voice was hoarse and rattling. She looked up at me, her face just as disfigured and hideous as it had been 4 years before. My mind flashed back to her birthday, to when I had considered offering to take her as my lifetime partner if her face hadn't healed in 4 years' time. Is that you? Is that you? Her question yanked me out of my memories. You remember me? Did Morgana remember me? The 3 years we'd spent together? What kind of person I'd been? The boy who'd refused to give up putting ointment on her face. Those horribly unromantic encounters at the graveyard. Her taking shots at me taking shots at her. All the time we'd shared. How could I ever forget? Morgana, she remembered me. How could I ever forget all the pain and humiliation you put me through? How could I ever forget the blood sabbaths you so loved to hold? What? What was she talking about? I haven't had enough, have you? Leaving scars on every inch of my body was enough for you. You haven't had your fill of my blood. No, that wasn't me. I was the one who tried to heal those wounds. You're the man who bound me, cut me up, called me a witch, and then tried to kill me. I haven't forgotten you even for a moment. No, Morgana, I was the man who rescued you from him. I don't care how much my father preaches forgiveness. It's the one thing you'll never get from me. I despise you with all my soul. I revile you with every fibre of my being. For every scar you gave me, I give you a lifetime of hatred. No, Morgana, I was not aware you knew the... I was not aware you knew the Witch Lord. His voice made my blood run cold. I didn't just know her. Morgana was... This man, the Lord, he destroyed me, mind and body. No, there was another man. He was already dead. I had just taken his place. I had come from the slums. I'd been part of the slaves' revolt. I knew I had to tell her. He ruined my life. But between the sting of Morgana's accusations and my need to protect my current position, I couldn't muster the strength to do it. If someone were to find out I wasn't legitimate royalty, that I'd come from the slums, then everything I'd worked so hard to build up for who though? would come crumbling down. Do I really think it hasn't already? All I had left was my power, my rank. Is that what I actually wanted? I couldn't afford to lose that too. When did I first start straying from the path? Yes, I know her. Oh, I knew her years ago. I see. What do you want to do then, Lord? You look sick. This doesn't change anything. We lock the witch up and proceed as planned. Damn. So the only reason he had a bad attitude about it is because Morgana mistakenly identified him as the previous lord that had horribly tortured her. Okay. Why couldn't I tell her the truth? How could I keep her imprisoned? What had I wanted power for in the first place? Oh shit, I'm still reading in the other guy's voice. Would anyone ever believe me if I said this wasn't how I wanted things to turn out? Would anyone ever believe me? Before me floats a man, twisted and writhing in pain. Although, whether what I'm looking at could be said to resemble a human is a difficult question. It's a hazy, indistinct shape, on the precipice of being consumed by darkness everlasting. I know very well what I'm looking at. The moments before a man's soul shatters. Did I do the same thing to him that Morgana did to me? Was it I who summoned the darkness? Who laid his past bare? Who forced him to relive those events? To experience once more everything he felt, everything he thought? Who put him through that despair a second time? I can only imagine how he must have felt, causing someone he once cared for so much pain. The things he did are abhorrent, more than deserving of reproach, and it would undoubtedly be easier for him to simply vanish into the eternal abyss. But I can't allow that to happen. He still has work to do. His story is essential. It's almost certain Morgana still doesn't know who he really is. He needs to face her, to reveal the truth with his own words. That's the only thing we're going to get her to have a change of heart. That's not all he has to say to her either. So I must bring him back, pull him out of the darkness. I grab the man by the arm and begin scouring the blackness for an exit. After some time, I see a speck glistening high above, so I make my way upwards, back into the harsh light of the real world. Wow. So he was actually the guy who saved her and kind of gave her a happy time in her life, and even, was going to confess his feelings for her, despite, there being a 10-year age gap and her being 12 and him being 21. We'll put that aside for now. The darkness parts and we reemerge in the dining hall. The man still straddling me, dagger held above his head, just as he had been before our trek into this past. His eyes are wide open and his hands are trembling. A moment later, his fingers go slack, and the blade slips from his grasp, piercing the wood floor by my face. Hey, what was that? I swear I saw some kind of black cloud or something. What happened to you two? Neither of you saw any of that. So, what? If you didn't see anything, then don't worry about it. The necklace. That must have been the key to unlocking his memories. Like when I touched the mirror in the mansion. I have no idea why certain objects show me different memories, but I got what I needed, I think. I'm fairly certain the white-haired girl is Morgana now. The things Jacopo did to her and felt for her behind the third door have much in common with him and Morgana in this life. Why did you dig that up? How the hell did you do that? Why did you show me my former self? Why did you make me watch that? Why didn't you tell her? Had you only opened your mouth and told Morgana the truth, told her you weren't the previous lord, told her who you really were, Things could have turned out differently. Turned out differently how? Knowing would have only worsened her pain. Yes, you're exactly right. The man who once saved her life is now the source of all her misery. How would knowing that do anything but cause her more despair? The least you could have done then was let her go free. I had already put money into setting things up with the church there. Her arm had been cut off, there was no turning back. You can't go back from that. You could have, yes. You could have stopped then, and you could have stopped then and there. Don't act like you know anything. You couldn't have possibly comprehended the weight on my shoulders, you dirty peasant. You're right, and I can't, and I'll be damned if I want to. To hell with understanding the feelings of a man who could so easily lose sight of what mattered most for such little power. Money, power, that's all you really wanted to hold dear. So why couldn't you let go of that? Why did you have to go and let what mattered most slip through your fingers? Had you done anything, it wouldn't have had to come to this. I couldn't have let people knowing where I came from. I needed wealth, rank. No, you didn't need any of that. Do you have any idea how much Morgana treasured her time with you and Maria? Do you know how she described that period as one of such bright chapters in her life? Those 3 years she spent at the brothel until it was attacked. She said that was where she learned to find joy in life. Enough. She would never say any of that. Why do you refuse to believe me? She never opened up to anybody. That's all just your fantasy, what you want to see in her. You're trying to convince me of something that was never there. No, I think he's right, Lord. I believe she did feel that way. The day I killed that carriage full of slaves 4 years ago, this girl you're talking about, she was there. What? That can't... And she said this to me before I began my massacre. I'm sad because I didn't get a chance to show my gratitude to people very dear to me. She was crying as she did. So that's who she was talking about. It was you. There's no way. When exactly did the brothel attack 4 years ago take place? It was the winter. I see. Winter 4 years ago is when I met the girl, too. That reminds me. She mentioned something unpleasant happening to her 4 years ago during one of our conversations. That she was forced to part ways with the people who taught her that humans are capable of kindness. She was talking about you. There's still time. You can still set Morgana free. You can still reveal your true self to her. She was likely in shock that day, not seeing or thinking straight. She still thinks you're someone else. Hearing you were the Lord is set something off inside her, preventing her from seeing who you really are. Her time in the previous Lord's captivity left scars even deeper than she knew, so all it took was that one word. And in her eyes, you became him. Which isn't to say you haven't caused her much pain yourself, but I still believe your truth is key to allaying her hatred. It will change her perception of the world. I'm certain of it. So please, release Morgana and spill your heart for her. Excuse me. I was planning to end it all with the Harvest Festival. What? I was already planning to set her free then. I knew damn well it was much too little, much too late. But I needed an excuse to face her. Some occasion to give me that last nudge. So I told myself that's going to be the day. That's when I'm going to do it. But you had to show up out of nowhere, digging up my past. Throwing all my plans out the window. You still think I'm the reason for your carefully laid plans falling apart? I'll let her go during the Harvest Festival. Tomorrow she goes free. Tomorrow's too late. What difference does it make? When the bell tolls noon on the day of the Harvest Festival, Morgana dies. I've heard more than enough of your so-called prophecies. I'm done. Why do you still refuse to believe me? I'm not making anything up. I'm from the future. I know how this ends. Having an occasion and a plan can certainly make it easier to take action, but you can't just wait for the right occasion for everything. Sometimes if you don't take action on something as soon as you've decided to do it, you'll miss your chance. In your next life, you make the same mistakes. You lock someone up that you think you care about, eventually causing her to break down entirely. And you're so fixated on waiting for the right occasion, you completely destroy any chance of salvaging anything. If you're set on releasing her, then release her. Jacopo! Stop being so damn fixated on your occasions already. Enough. Damn you. You're right. You don't have to tell me I'm being a fool. I'll do it. Right now, I'll do it. I'll release her. Thank you for making up your mind. I didn't make the lock require 3 keys, because the weight was too much to bear alone. It was because having others with me would force me to keep up the Lord facade, to prevent me from letting anything slip. Or maybe I was just waiting, hoping someone would betray me, make me pay. Pathetic, I know. You can have the necklace. It belongs to you. Though I doubt Morgana will accept it, I hope you'll still attempt to give it to her yourself. Will you do that? Where did you get that anyway? From Maria. I thought she would have thrown it out by now. I assume she doesn't think very highly of me. Be honest with me. She was planning to kill you. Maybe that would have been for the best. To her, I'm nothing but a power-hungry traitor. The necklace, I'll take it. Here you are. I guess my only question is... why was Maria even involved? Well, I mean, I guess it was really just... yeah, I guess it makes sense, actually. Because, like, Nellie wasn't directly involved with Morgana. Neither was Pauline, neither was Maria. But they all were just close to somebody who was directly involved with her. When he takes the necklace, Jacopo looks as though he's on the verge of tears. Whether from the pressure of not wanting to lose face, or simply because he's no longer able to, he doesn't actually shed any, though. The other two just stand and watch him quietly. Neither of them saw the vision of his past, but they don't pry either. Our exchange was probably sufficient to give them an idea of what happened, even if they don't know the details. Clutching the necklace in one hand, Jacopo takes up the head of the procession to the observation tower, and while it lasts but for a brief moment, I see an image of the young man he used to be in his slightly slouched shoulders. Here we go. The time has come. They each insert and turn their individual keys. The lock disengaging and the door giving a deep groan as it swings open. Beyond it, a spiral staircase extends high into the sky. Every time I've climbed these stairs, it's always been a solemn affair. And now is no different. I've succeeded, though. I've got them all here, ready to set her free before she's supposed to die. I've changed the past. Giselle. Can you hear me, Giselle? I made it in time. Now Morgana doesn't have to die tomorrow. I did it. Giselle. With me. Come on. Do you guys hear talking behind the door? Is there someone else in there with her? There couldn't be. It's only Morgana. Stay with me, please. Come on, you can't give up now. Oh, be quiet. As if you have any idea what I'm going through. Of course I do. Is this Giselle? No. Standing before the door at the top of the stairs, a chill runs down my spine. Before I have time to consider what might have caused it, my body moves on its own. I shove my way past the other men and push open the door. It's gonna be Giselle there, I know it for a fact, right? I know. I'll come up with something pleasant to take your mind off things. I'll come up with a story. A story? How about this? A dove flies in through the window up above, a piece of parchment tied to its leg. It's a letter from the prince of a neighboring land. You read it, and then you write a response. I don't respond. After exchanging letters back and forth for some time, the prince comes to find you. I'm not going to fall for your stupid fantasies. Holding on to something, even a fantasy, is better than believing in nothing at all. I don't want you to give up hope. Baseless hope only breeds despair. Not that you would know any of that. Besides, if anyone's going to come for me, I don't want it to be a prince. There's only one person I want to see. We're all stunned to silence at the scene unfolding beyond the door. Morgana is having a conversation with herself. This does answer the question of who the white-haired girl is and where she came from. Give me a second, I gotta turn on this. It's getting very hot. But I can't. This is just... No one should have to go through this. Her mind has split into two. Morgana, it looks like your visitors. They're here to take my blood. Or they've got no use for me anymore and are here to kill me. Oh, don't be so negative. Look, there's someone new. Kill me. Just set me free already. Morgana, you know what my wish is. Kill me and curse. Put a curse on them. Come on, Morgana, look up at them. Your letters, they made it. I never wrote any letters. He's got long hair as white as snow and eyes like rubies. He's beautiful like an angel descended from heaven. Oh, wait, hold. I don't want to throw anything out there, but oh man. So it's either that this instance is what inspired, one of those kind of time paradox things, which is what inspired Morgana to make the white-haired girl look as she did, or it could have just been that the white-haired girl was previously established as, a separated part of her mind, who then took the form of the white-haired girl, her physical appearance taking after Michael, because obviously she was trying to torment Michael. An angel. Morgana. Oh, Morgana. I've come for you, Morgana. Come to set you free. Would you please undo her shackles, Jacopo? As you say. Morgana. Angel? Can you hear me, Morgana? At long last, I have the chance to hold you while you're still alive. I'm here to get you out of this tower. You have nothing to worry about anymore. You can go outside again, see the sun. You can go back to your old life. Angel. Morgana. Angel. No one's going to hurt you anymore, Morgana. And the three of them by the door, none of them had any malice for you. Angel. You're free. You can go free again. Angel. You can have a normal life. No one's going to take any more of your blood. Angel. Please, Morgana. Please stay with me. Don't you want to leave this place? I'm going to set you free. I'll take you back to your cottage by the lake. I'll get you medicine. I'll help you with anything you need. If you want to go somewhere far away, I'll take you there. I'm begging you. I've waited so long for this moment. Morgana, I've been waiting so long. Oh shit, this is her. Fuck, my god. Oh, this is her. Motherfucker. I've waited so long for this moment. I've waited so long for God to send an angel. Are you an angel? Are you an angel sent to deliver me from this place? Please, deliver me unto my father's presence. I can't go back out there. Oh. I can't go back out there. I can't live in the mortal realm any longer. I don't want to. There's only one place I wish to go. Oh, holy servant of the Lord. You are an angel, aren't you? Morgana. Please, deliver me from this place. Yes, that's right. I am. For now, yes, I will be. I am the Archangel Michael, sent to deliver your soul unto God the Father, your angel. I have descended from heaven above. That's wonderful. Morgana, is he proud of me? Your Father, the Lord Almighty, is exceedingly proud of the great work that you've done in his name. Thank you. It means so much to me to hear that. I couldn't be happier to be able to return with you to see him. Morgana. Morgana! Morgana! Her body goes limp in my arms as the last of her life slips away. There should have been more than enough time to spare, but I still failed to save her life. At the very least, I hope I was able to provide her some comfort in her final moments. I'm allowed to think that, aren't I? Were we too late? But why? Wasn't she not supposed to die until... That's what you said, isn't it? That's what was supposed to happen, right? So how come we still didn't make it? Why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you just let her wither away like this? Why? Answer me! I have no answer for you. I had no idea she had deteriorated so badly. You should take her outside. Then you can atone for your sins. But first, we need to take her body somewhere clean. Death does not mean you are free of pain. We need to make her sure we need to ensure her soul can depart in peace. You won't see me objecting. You need to say now what you were going to say to her. You must let her know the truth. She's dead. What good would it do to reveal my feelings now? Are you really that dense? Of course it will do good. Her physical body may be dead, but her soul is still here, watching everything, listening to every word you say. I don't believe in souls. Well, I'm begging you to change your mind. Let Morgana hear what you have to say. Don't let her soul seethe in hatred. Please, I'm begging you. Okay, Morgana. I'm not the Lord you knew. The man who pushed you through that hell. I killed him. I'm the man who freed you from his grasp. I'm the man who spent the next 3 years with you. We were poor and food was scarce, let alone good food, but those were happy times. Just about every day I'd come to rub ointment on your face. I'd tell you to look at me and you'd reluctantly turn my way. I used to think a lot about the face you'd make when you finally gave in. And then there was Maria. I can only imagine how obnoxious she thought the two of us were when we were in the same room together. You sitting off alone while me and Maria go at it, not making a peep. Me always trying to sneak glances at you. There's so much I never managed to tell you, and I hate myself for being too weak to put any of it into words. I could apologize, but I doubt you'd forgive me. And I don't want you to either. I just want you to know that this isn't how I wanted things to turn out. What I wanted more than anything was to show you the world. But instead all I managed to show you is the inside of a cold, dark tower. Not the beautiful, unimaginably wide world outside these walls, but a tiny, filthy corner of it. I did this to you. I took everything from you, when I should have given you everything. However much you hate me, I deserve every last bit of it and more. I was ready to pay with my life if that's what you wanted. I was ready to do absolutely anything. This wasn't how I wanted things to turn out. I waited too long to bring myself to take action. Morgana, the man there, he told me you said the 3 years you were with me and Maria were the brightest days of your life. Well, they were for me too. I loved you. That's everything. Did any of what he said just now make it through to you, Morgana? I pray with all my heart that him opening up will give even the tiniest effect on how you feel. Morgana, I also want to apologize for everything I did to hurt you. I feel terrible about it, I really do. And yeah, I know that's not enough to make up for what I've done, so I want to make amends, whatever it takes. If you want me to give you my life now, I will. Or if you want me to spend the rest of my days paying for my sins, I can do that too. I'm an irredeemable monster and killer. I take pleasure in hurting people. You are right to be afraid of me. I am genuinely sorry for what I did to you, though. I never wanted to see you dead. Sorry, I can't come up with anything better to say. Let's bring her outside. Would you carry her body, please? You should be the one to carry her. You're far better suited to the job. My right arm is in no condition to be picking anything up. I'll help you lift her then. You said it was my words that she needed to hear most, but ultimately, it was you who saved her. And me who made that necessary. She wanted to be delivered by God by the hands of an angel, so the angel here should carry her. I can't. It wouldn't be right. Please, would you do that for her? Very well. Jacopo puts the necklace around Morgana's neck, then lifts her dead body off the ground and places her in my arms. Excuse me. He opens the door, heading the 4-man procession out of the tower as he had in. I walk at the back of the line. Each step they take down the spiral staircase is slow and ponderous, as if weighted down by the knowledge of their sins, that they must make their way to the place they will make their atonement. I wasn't able to prevent Morgana's death, but I was able to uncover the truth. I accomplished something. The sum of everything I did these 3 days should be enough to change her heart and change the course of their next lives. They should be able to avoid the tragedies I witnessed through each of their doors. When we step through this door and people see Morgana's body, we'll be made to pay for our sins. Ultimately, I'm the one who's responsible, so the two of you are welcome to stay behind. I'm coming with you. A girl died because of the things I did. I can't just pretend that it didn't have anything to do with me. No, I want to. No, I don't want to. I never had any intention of fleeing. You may have been the one running the operation, but I did just as many terrible things as you. Well then. Say, Michael. Yes. I figured this was probably my last chance to say it. So, thank you for convincing me to hand over my key. For giving me the courage to open my eyes. You always had the courage within you, Mel. You simply needed a little help finding it. It wasn't my strength that allowed you to take action, but your own. You sure do know how to make someone feel better about themselves. I'd like to be a little stronger next time around, if there really is a next life. I'd like to be strong enough to face whatever comes my way, to not run away or try to ignore it. I have no doubt you will be. The trials you're made to face are great, and very few of them of your own making. Yours is a tragedy of circumstance, of feelings kept secret and good intentions gone wrong. If you can face the problem when it arises rather than look away, I'm certain you can find your way to a better future. You mean in my next life? I do. I'll trust you know what you're talking about then, and burn your advice into my soul. Don't look away. Please do. I'm glad to have met you. If there is a next life, I'd like it if we could be friends. Just so you know, you'll never convince me to go on walks around a lake or take naps out in the sun. Well, that makes you sound like a very gloomy, unpleasant person to be around. Just joking. Thank you. You're welcome. You know, you kept telling me you weren't an angel, but you actually are, aren't you? I promise you I am a regular man. You told Morgana you were an angel. Angels and demons don't get along very well, so I'd rather not run into you in my next life. I appreciate what you did here, though. I'll do my best to be more human next time. Please do. If I repeat to myself what you told me, that what I need most is restraint, as I make my departure from this world, then maybe I won't forget it, even if I do lose my memories. Burn it into my soul. I rather like that. I think I'll follow the boy's lead there. That would be best. I'll be praying that even if you aren't capable of love, you'll be able to live a peaceful life with a good woman who loves you. That you'll be able to make her happy by doing so. I still think she'd be better off never knowing me. Whether you want her to know or not, she's almost certainly going to meet you and fall in love with you. You know, now that I think about it, she's not as normal as I first thought. She's a peculiar woman. I can't say I disagree. Well, I guess this is goodbye then. That it is. I know everyone else is doing it, but I've got nothing to say to you. I didn't expect you would. Ha! Though I suppose I do have something I'd like to say to you. And what might that be? Be more open with yourself. If you had only put your feelings into words, things would have gone differently, in both this life and your next. Coming from you, a man who looks even more closed off than me, that rubs me very much the wrong way. Do I really look that closed off? In more ways than one, yeah. That part of me is deeply ingrained. You telling me to open up won't magically disentangle my personality and make it be. I don't think you're as twisted as you believe you are. I'll consider it if this next life nonsense you're selling is true. Please do. Lord have mercy, one hell of a man certainly busted his way into my life. The last thing I expected was for an outsider to be the one to get us to open that door. Impressive work for one man. It was not only my doing. I had help from a number of people. And it was you, Giselle, who did the most in getting me here. I'm not as big a man as the three of you make me out to be. Before this, I'd lost so much I felt utterly powerless, and was on the verge of abandoning all hope. But having the opportunity to meet all of you, to spend time with you and the people around you, it did a great deal to revitalize my spirit, despite the atrocities involved. So I thank you. I pray your lives may turn out better. I suppose we should get going then, off to pay for our crimes, to relieve her soul of some of its pain, and I suppose to make sure their next lives go a little better. Let's. He places a hand on the large door, and then takes a step forward. The door lets out a heavy groan, and moonlight slips through the widening cracks. It's all over now. I did it. I changed the past. Oh. And we're going to stop it right there. Bam. Alrighty. So we just saved Morgana. Or did we? So, obviously, right? It's not as simple as that. It never is that simple with this game. There's been like 6 different major plot twists so far that have effectively and completely redirected the path of the story thus far. So there's still this whole thing with Giselle to figure out, why she ended up kind of fading away. We still need to save her. I don't think Morgana is going to be so easily convinced to release their tormented souls either. So I do think that there still is going to be a final showdown against Morgana. And we're going to have to be a little bit more forceful about it. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe followed a similar kind of path as, you know, this, where, you know, like we know deep down inside that with the revelation of, you know, how these guys, like, you know, the fact that these guys did what they did because of, you know, this and that, you know, knowing that for really majority of them, there was no ill intent involved. And that it really was just a very unfortunate setting of circumstance. You know, I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like, Morgana, I know that you don't really want to, you know, let yourself succumb to this hatred. And, you know, I know that there's still goodness in your heart, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, so just kind of, we're going to end up having to convince Morgana herself to forgive them, or at the very least to let go of her hatred and to release all of our souls. But we're going to have to figure that out in the next video. That's going to be it for this time. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video and tell me in the comment section below what you'd like to see me play next. If you enjoyed this video or any other videos or series on my channel, then I highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you'll be notified when a new one of those videos comes out. Anyways, that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.